Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is Cheryl and today I'm here to bring you a review. So this is from a genre I have just recently started to get into, and I have Lauren to thank for this, and I will link her channel down below, and that is urban/paranormal fantasy. And I took her recommendation to start the Kate Daniels series by Ilana Andrews, and I started that at the beginning of this year, or I read the first book at the end, December of last year into this year, and oh my gosh, I fell in love. There's 10 books, and I think 1 or 2 novellas. I read 9 of the books and 1 novella from the beginning of this year until I think last month. Instead of finishing the series, I decided to reread the first 5 books again and continue those before I read the last one. Don't know why, but that's what my brain decided it wanted to do. But that's besides the point. Just basically, I kind of fell in love with the genre. And another recommendation that she gave was the Mercy Thompson series by Patricia Briggs. So this is the second book, Iron Kissed, and I will have a review of this one soon. But the first one I want to talk about is Moon Called, I believe. I'm going to insert a photo of it here. And this is the first book in the series. I don't know how many books are in this series, but if it's like most other series in this genre that I found, there are probably like 15 plus books. But anyway, so this follows Mercy Thompson. She is a mechanic and looks nothing like the cover of this describes, at least in the way she dresses. She is just kind of a rough and tough gal. I don't want to say not like other girls, but she is definitely more on the, I would say, more masculine in her interests. Like I said, she's a mechanic. She owns her own shop. And she lives in a world where the Fae and paranormal have kind of started coming out. So they've been in the world and in society for a long time, but they've remained hidden for their own safety. However, the Grey Lords, which rule the Fae, and Fae are described as anyone who can use glamour to protect themselves and to hide their true identity from humans, the Fae have come out into the open. And at first there was a huge backlash, and then people are kind of just starting to accept them. However, there are a lot more paranormal creatures than just the Fae. There are vampires, werewolves, shifters, like walkers or skinwalkers, and things like that are still under the radar, that people probably might know they exist, but it's not talked about, because while the Fae have kind of put on this persona of harmless and they're safe to be around, obviously vampires are going to have a much more negative connotation, so they have, remained kind of in hiding still. So this book follows Mercy Thompson, and like I said, she's a mechanic and has been kind of living on her own, working, and just kind of carving out a life for herself. And she is a skinwalker, and the only one she knows of. And that means she shifts into a coyote. So she spent most of her life growing up with an adoptive parents in a werewolf, I don't want to say reservation, but like a werewolf community in Montana. So when her mother realized what she was, she kind of shipped her off through a long distance family connection to Bran, who's the leader of these werewolves. And so he kind of took her under his wing. She had an adoptive family there, and so she grew up immersed in the werewolf society, and it has its own set of rules and its own set of kind of basically laws that they follow. Obviously they live within the pack structure, or live within society structure, but they have their own pack structure, and it's very regimented. You've got your alpha, your beta, all the different ranks below that. They're very much driven by their wolf and their wolfish instincts, mating, things like that. Like I said, hierarchy in the pack is very important. If weakness is sensed in a alpha or in a higher ranked pack member, then the lower ranked ones will try to fight them to gain up in rank. So it's a very regimented society. And so she, through a series of events with a flame she had while she lived there, she basically ran away and is living in the Tri-Cities area now. So the first book definitely is like a setup novel. So she lives like I said, in the Tri-City area. Her neighbor is a werewolf, alpha of the local werewolf pack, and she's kind of had like a uneasy truce. Basically, he claimed her as his mate, but only in name. They're not an item, and that's just because she is well aware of the fact that wolves will kill encroaching coyotes into their territory, just in nature. So to keep any of his pack from hurting her through Bran's wishes, he is like, hey, this is my mate, she's off limits. So he's her neighbor. Her boss is a fae, and her favorite client slash customer that she works with the most is a vampire named Stefan. So basically this book involves just kind of how she is trying to find her way in the world, how all of these societies are trying to interconnect. And like I said, it was more of a setup novel than anything, but I still enjoyed it. Although I have problems with the pack structure and that women are weak and women only take the rank that their mate or their husband does. And Mercy also has a big problem with that. She routinely mentions that they are stuck in a centuries past, that they have not caught up to modern times and women's rights, etc. So I do appreciate that she recognizes that that's not an appropriate structure still, and she knows that there's nothing she as a non-werewolf can do to change it, but she does have problems with authority because of it, where she does not think of herself as weak and she does not want to submit to anyone, which does kind of throw the local alpha for a loop, and he gets kind of frustrated because he wants her basically as part of his pack, and she's like, nah, that ain't gonna happen. I'm not submitting to anyone. But overall, I really did enjoy this book. I think I gave it 4 stars, and it was a fun read. These books and this genre is super quick to read, and I think part of that comes from the fact that even though it is its own world and has a lot of fantastical elements into it, it's still based in our world, so it's easy to get a grasp on versus having to start from the ground up with a high fantasy book. But yeah, so I'm definitely excited to continue the series. I have read the second book, which I will have a review up soon, but otherwise, let me know if you guys have read this series, if you enjoy it, especially further down the series. I know sometimes they can get weaker, or sometimes they get stronger as they go along. In addition, let me know some of your paranormal urban fantasy recommendations down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!